Welcome to Women Winning Divorce, the podcast helping successful women navigate divorce with dignity so you can protect yourself, your children, and your assets. I'm Heather Quick, founding attorney at Florida Women's Law Group, where women win at life. Hello, I'm Heather Quick with the Women Winning Divorce podcast. Today, we're discussing recent reports surrounding Harry Styles' engagement to Zoe Kravitz and speculation about a potential prenup in their future marriage. Now, while celebrity relationships always attract headlines, conversations about prenuptial agreements are incredibly relevant for everyday couples too. A lot of people still misunderstand what prenups are, who they protect, and why having one can actually reduce conflict and uncertainty down the road. Many women will ask if bringing up a prenup means they're planning for divorce before the marriage even begins. And that's a misconception that I would really like to squash, because we as adults enter into contracts all the time. When we're buying a house, buying a car, and really even a job, that's a contract. You're subject to the terms of that agreement and the laws of the state where you live. So hopefully you've done some due diligence. Certainly you do when buying real estate and with a car, and really understanding what you're signing. Well, when you get married, you're entering into a contract that is going to be governed by the state of Florida or whatever state you live in. And don't you think that it would be wise to, one, understand what that is, but also maybe negotiate some of your own rights ahead of time, not leaving you subject to whatever the government says is going to happen in the event of a divorce? I often get asked, why is it so important for couples to address these issues proactively instead of during emotional situations later on? So when marriages fail, there are many reasons. But I think one of the common threads throughout all the reasons is the communication, and or really the breakdown of the communication. And going through the process of a prenup requires you to have some difficult conversations when you're very much in love and very happy. But they can be difficult. Talking about money can be difficult. So isn't it best to talk about a difficult topic, potentially, that you may not see eye to eye on when you're still in love and wanting to get married, for the very benefit of understanding where the other person is coming from? We all have a money story. We all have beliefs. We attach things to money, and it's not something we openly talk about. And this is an opportunity to do so. And that in and of itself, I think, is worth it. Because if you can have that conversation in the beginning and begin to understand and just begin talking about these things, it is going to help you have a stronger marriage. And one thing clients often wonder is, what are some healthy ways partners can discuss these agreements while still maintaining trust and respect in the relationship very carefully? And I think that it could be something that you say, we're getting married. We've agreed. I've said, yes, I want to marry you. By saying yes, and by you asking me, I think we are intending this to be forever. But what if it's not? What if things happen that we don't even, we can't even think about now? Shouldn't we know how we're going to part ways, in that we could do so now with love and respect for one another? And then ideally that goes in the drawer, the safe deposit box, and hopefully we never really need it again. But we are having difficult conversations while we are happy and in love and want to spend the rest of our lives together. It seems counterintuitive, right? You're thinking, well, why are we talking about, like, we want to get married and be together, but we're talking about what happens if we break up? But why not? And why not put it out there? And want your partner to say, well, I don't believe in divorce and I will never get a divorce. Well, good to know, right? Good to know. And so then that's an opportunity to say, okay, well, what if things are going badly, right? Are we going to agree to counseling? What kind of counseling? Like, again, these are topics that, if you are open to it, can really help you, I think, have a stronger marriage and open communication. And another question a lot of clients ask are, what are some of the biggest mistakes couples should avoid when creating a prenuptial agreement? Well, I think you should avoid just going really quickly and making it like a boilerplate and not specific. I think you should have really good conversations, and maybe even reach out and try to talk to a financial coach or somebody who can help you put words to the way you are feeling about the conversations. There's just so much out there to really help people and help them communicate and make better decisions. Biggest thing that you must do with a prenup is there has to be disclosures, and they need to be done correctly, and both parties should have representation, because if you're going to go through the process and do this, you want it to be upheld. And question I get all the time is, how can couples shift their mindset to see financial planning as part of building a strong partnership rather than preparing for divorce? Well, it starts with looking at the marriage as a business transaction, because it is in part. And I know we all want to believe in the fairy tales and happily ever after, but there's a lot of business transaction to it, and you are subject to the laws of the state where you live. So be smart about it. And if either of you have property going in, you should be thinking about that. And you should also be thinking about, well, how are we going to handle the property that we share together? And what if one of you is a saver and one of you is a spender, or one of you has a lot of debt? That would be very important to know and have a discussion about before you say I do. I hope this discussion has provided helpful insight into why prenuptial agreements are becoming more common and why they are not just for celebrities or the ultra wealthy. Having open conversations about finances and future expectations can create clarity and reduce stress for couples at every stage of life. For more on protecting your financial future before marriage, go back and listen to episode 9, Prenuptial and Postnuptial Agreements, what divorce lawyers want you to know. Thank you for listening.
Listeners, if you or someone you know in the Northeast Florida area is going through or even thinking about divorce, you're not alone. Taking that first step can feel overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. Our newsletter is filled with actionable advice tailored to guide you through this process. By signing up, you'll gain the tools to face the unknown with courage and see if we're the right fit to support you during this life-changing time. Don't wait. Click the link in the show notes, fill out the form, and take the first step toward building a brighter future today.